Here are the top posts from Who Would Win on the 23rd of November 2019.
Miracle Alien. As it turns out, Captain America knows about Peter and goes to Queen to recruit him at the same time. Tony gets there. Who manages to recruit him?
Bearded Heathen. I think Tony's big advantage is his connection to tech, and that his argument will play well into the responsibility thing. I don't remember if they ever really mentioned the normal Uncle Ben events happening, but if we assume it happened in the MCU, then we could assume that Tony's argument of taking responsibility and having someone else as a watcher is a pretty good thing. Fluid Management 8. R1. Peter would follow Cap because he got there first. Peter would be awestruck by an Avenger asking for his help. R2. Peter would follow Cap because he got there first. R3. Tony would immediately start fighting Cap, and Tony would stand a good chance of winning. Peter would freak out and try to protect Aunt May, but he wouldn't hurt either of them. Monsieur Peter would ask them to leave and he wouldn't join either side. R4. As smart as Peter is, he still has a very naive view of the world. I doubt he would see the government or the UN as ever doing anything wrong. For that reason, he would be in favor of superhero registration. However, after the events of FFH, I'm guessing he would see the danger of consolidating too much power under one person, as well as the fallibility of government, and he would be in favor of non-registration.
A casual dude. I'd wager on Cap in all scenarios. That thing Peter says to Tony about how not helping people when you've got the kind of power he has would be wrong. Should make him against the Accords. He isn't the sort of person to not help somewhere because the government said so. He won't just sit around and be told what to do and when to do it. Just like Cap, Tony got Peter on his side just cause he was the first big league hero to talk to him. And I also don't think he was given full context for the war.
Throw away 69,696,969. Which MCU character would last the longest against their 616 counterpart? Greg League Gaming Alt. Black Widow and Hawkeye last longest as they are both human and limited even in comics to not being too far above their MCU selves, but will still beat their ass. Black Panther also might last longest due to armor just keeping him alive for a while. Everyone else gets shit stomped on pretty much. Iron Man's suits in comics generally output a ton of firepower compared. Everyone else is just miles above. The Thor, Hulk and Thanos rounds are devastating stomps.
Professor Fox. Last I heard, Cap is pretty similar to his 616 counterpart. At least close enough that it isn't a stomp. Spidey J and the MCU is still starting out, but already he has a good showing of feats that put him relatively close to his counterpart. Both Widow and Hawkeye should be relatively even as well.
Spectre 299. If it's just a question of who can run the clock longest, it's Cap and Spidey. If it's a question of who can make the fight closest, it's Cap, Hawkeye, and Black Panther. For Spidey, MCU Peter doesn't have a hope of winning against 616 Peter, who is stronger, faster, more experienced, and has better spider sense. MCU Peter can hang for a while though because 616 Peter pulls his punches. And MCU Peter is incredibly durable. For Panther, it's a fairly close match because 616 Panther is more skilled and more powerful. But MCU Panther's suit makes him borderline invulnerable. For Hawkeye, both men are at the peak of human ability for hand-to-hand and projectile weapons. However, 616 Clint is significantly more durable, and has an edge due to his acrobatic background and expanded arsenal.
The one who was. Waluigi finds himself stranded in the universe of Dragon Ball Z. How long does he survive until he dies at least one time? whowouldwin. He's Waluigi. He is always number one. Everyone refuses to fight him because he is so sexy. That shan't be Falco. I'd say he makes it to Namek. There he would be too egotistical and would go out of the protection of Krillin, Hogan, and Bulma, and later fighters like Goku, and just start exploring around the planet looking for Frieza or the Dragon Balls, or just doing whatever he wants. He either gets killed by someone or is left behind on the planet when it blows up, as no one has enough time, care to locate to him while the planet's blowing up. He would rub them the wrong way too much for that. Edit. Auto-corrected Gohan to Hogan.
whowouldwin62. He lasts through the entire series and resets the timeline so that he can do it again for the fun of it. After all, why not? You can't kill a god.
Mayhem Messiah. Challenge. Weakest spellcaster that can solo defend the Battle of Hogwarts?
Awkward Dragon. Aragon, Shadslayer should have it in the bag. He would be able to reflect any spells with his words and sword, and kill any spellcaster that comes near with a death word that takes about as much energy as a pinch of his fingers.
Lord Blizzard 58. Well, this is a well thought out post. Well, time to insert my obligatory weakest psychic. Charles Xavier. Due to being a crippled man who can rival the Phoenix Force.
Caleb Santos. I'd say Maleficent. She's shown magic that outdoes anything seen in the HP universe, and she can sense other magic uses, so surprising her with a Avada Kedavra is gonna be harder than one might think, let alone being able to turn into a fucking dragon.
Wide Lion 255. A Tony Stark-trained Dick Grayson or a Batman-trained Peter Parker? Greg League Gaming Alt. Presuming they start fresh and not with prior training? Dick Grayson with no training from bats is a mostly normal dude pretty much, and just becomes a normal Iron Man without the smarts. Anyone trained by bats becomes peak human most of the time. Spider-Man had nearly one weakness, and that's he has no H2H training or skill. He 100% relies on his abilities most of the times. Versions. Let bats train Spider-Man and he becomes a fucking monster. R1 depends on the armor Dick gets. With a standard suit, Spidey will destroy him. HES already insane to hit, but add in Batman training for dodging and skill in combat and he stomps. R2 normal person with basic H2H from Iron Man vs Batman trained human. R3 Iron Man mops him up with better suits, but a basic suit means Bat Spider ruins them with his overwhelming speed and strength combined with Bat stealth and tactics. If this is Dick with Batman training, it might change some things, but Iron Man suit limits how much you can apply other training is much, while Batman's training will just increase Spider-Man by magnitudes. However, Dick with Bat knowledge will beat Spider-Man with Bat training and no powers, as HES more experienced in H2H without powers. Venus was a flytrap. I like the idea of going the I'm the Night scary route for Spider-Man. I think more people are scared of spiders than bats. And Jesus Christ, getting webbed up in the middle of the night by something that is literally not completely human would be fucking terrifying. Chronosian. If Batman has prep, it's a classic stomp. Spider-Man with Shadow Assassin training and or bat gadgets in addition to whatever he can now create with Wayne Tech resources. That's pretty much Iron Spider with less metal and more leather and capes. Tony is smart and really good at what he does. But Dick is who he is because of Batman. He's not that much on his own. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.